Have you ever, read a story or heard about a case, and you just get this feeling, like, deep down that something's not right?
I know that feeling. It's like a sixth sense almost.
Exactly. That's exactly how I felt diving into this whole Allora case. I mean, on the surface, it's a missing persons case, right? Happens all the time. But there's something about this one.
Yeah, this one's got layers to it. And those layers, well, they're pretty disturbing.
Let's bring our listener up to speed. Allora she was last seen on June 19th in Moncton, New Brunswick. And it's weird, right? It took until October for the RCMP to even ask the public for information.
Yeah, that's not the usual protocol.
Yeah.
But honestly, what's even more unusual in this whole thing is him.
Him meaning?
Jean-François Gariepy, Allora's boyfriend. And, well, he's not exactly a low-key kind of guy. He's got this, how do I put this? A significant presence in the whole white nationalist YouTube scene.
Right, okay. And he's not afraid to let people know what he thinks about, well, pretty much anything.
You got that right.
So, when it comes to Allora's disappearance, what's his story? How does he explain it?
So Gariepy's saying that Allora, she had this thing about, like, wanting to live off the grid. And he claims that on June 17th, she just, poof, took off. Says he dropped her off at a gas station near some popular hitchhiking spot. And she told him she was going on a trip. And then nothing. Radio silence. No calls, no messages, nothing.
Hold on. He's claiming she just ditched her phone. Like, I get wanting to disconnect, going off the grid and all that, but don't people usually at least keep their phones for emergencies?
That's what you'd think, right? The weird part is the RCMP actually confirmed that they do have security footage. They've seen Gariepy and Pétuan at the places he mentioned, and it all lines up with the timeline he gave them. So some of what he's saying seems to check out.
Okay, so parts of it line up, but I feel like this is where things take a turn. What's this about a YouTube video?
Oh, man, this is where it gets really wild. So you'd expect, a worried boyfriend to maybe make a video pleading for her safe return, right? Or give updates about the search, that sort of thing. But no, Gariepy, he posts this video of himself deep cleaning his house, like meticulously cleaning the entire place, after she supposedly left.
What?
Yeah. And get this, he even seems happy about the empty fridge. He's talking about, like, reshaping the house now that she's gone.
Okay, that is bizarre, to say the least. Like, who does that when their girlfriend is missing? It's like he's celebrating her absence.
Exactly. And a lot of people picked up on that, even some of Gariepy's own followers.
Yeah.
And the video wasn't the only red flag. He said something else in another video, and it's just chilling. I'm paraphrasing here. But he basically said he wished men still had the same control over their wives as they did back in the 1920s or something.
Yeah.
He actually used Allora disappearing as an example. Like, he could have just reported her missing and basically, in his words, owned her.
Okay, wow. That sends shivers down my spine. It's like he's trying to justify her disappearance with some kind of messed up ideology. And to be clear, they weren't even married, right?
Nope, not married. He just refers to her as his wife.
Right. It's giving major red flag.
Major. And the more you look into this guy, the deeper this goes. This isn't his first time around the block when it comes to controversy, especially involving women.
Yeah.
Yeah, you start digging into his past, and it's messy. There was this whole custody battle with his ex-wife.
This wasn't just like your average argue about who gets the good china divorce, was it? I mean, didn't she accuse him of, like, threatening to take their kid to Canada?
That's right. He allegedly threatened to take their child to Canada, and yeah, as if that would somehow make things right.
So messed up.
And it just keeps going. Like back when he was at Duke University, there were accusations of an inappropriate relationship with a student, someone who was working as his research assistant.
Wait, seriously?
Yep. He insisted it was all consensual, but she was claiming emotional abuse.
So we've got a pattern here, right? Allegations of threats, controlling behavior towards women, and now this whole vanished off the grid story with his girlfriend. It's a lot.
And it gets even more complicated, because on top of all that, Gariepy was also involved in this whole guardianship battle over a young woman he was calling his fiancée.
Hold on, fiancé. How young are we talking about?
She was 19.
19. And he was?
He was in his 40s.
Okay, whoa.
Yeah, she moved in with him, and later on, he actually testified in court that they were, get this, trying to have a baby.
He was trying to have a baby with a 19-year-old, a teenager who was under his guardianship.
That's what he claimed. The court, though, they saw right through it. They ended up giving guardianship to her parents, who said she had the mental maturity of, like, a preteen, and that because of her autism, she was especially vulnerable.
This is just, it's layer upon layer of disturbing information. And then Allora goes missing, and his response is to, what, deep clean his house and talk about how much he loves having an empty fridge.
Right. And he didn't report her missing, remember? He's claiming he thought she wanted to be off the grid. But even if that's true, why would someone who's supposedly embracing a simpler life, why would they travel with just, like, basic camping gear? That's what the RCMP said she had with her.
Exactly. It's not like she just wandered off into the wilderness with a backpack and a good luck charm. Something's not adding up.
Exactly. And this is where the RCMP's involvement gets even weirder. Because while Gariepy's sticking to this whole she wanted to disappear story, someone else filed a missing persons report.
We don't know who.
Nope, no idea who. But it was enough to get the RCMP to actually start investigating. That was late September, early October.
Which is when those visits from the feds that he's always going on about in his videos started happening.
Yep, exactly. He's claiming they've been to his house like multiple times, even woke him up once, all asking about Allora. Says he's cooperating, told them about the gas station footage, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
But there's just this, I don't know, this weird vibe he gives off about the whole thing. Like he's almost enjoying the attention.
It's like it's all part of his brand now. The Jean-Francois Gariepy Show, starring the RCMP. Okay, but what about those claims he made about Peru and Morocco? What was that all about?
Oh, yeah, the international intrigue angle. So he suggested in a few of his videos that maybe, just maybe, Allora's in one of those countries, like intentionally laying low, not contacting anyone.
Intentionally.
That's his theory. But, and this is the important part, he hasn't given a single shred of evidence to back it up.
It's all just speculation then.
Exactly. It feels calculated, right?
Yeah.
Like he's just throwing out these crazy possibilities to keep people guessing, keep his followers hooked on the drama of it all.
It's like he's playing a game, and Allora is the pawn.
And it all goes back to that need for control.
Yeah.
He's not just controlling the story about what happened to her. He's using it as a way to push his own agenda, this whole messed up belief that men should have all the power in a relationship.
And he's found an audience for it. It's chilling how he's twisting the situation, using Allora's disappearance to try and validate his warped worldview.
It's a stark reminder that we live in an age where platforms can be weaponized. Gariepy's using his online presence not just to spin a narrative, but to push an agenda. It's manipulation disguised as concern.
And it makes you wonder, what impact is this having on the actual investigation? Are the RCMP taking his claims seriously? Are they being thrown off by the online noise?
That's the million-dollar question. We only have access to the information available publicly. It's possible the RCMP sees through his acts, but it's also possible they're spending valuable time chasing down leads he's putting out there, intentionally or not.
It makes this whole case feel even more tragic. We have a missing woman, a boyfriend who seems more interested in pushing an agenda than finding her, and this whole online spectacle that's either helping or hindering the investigation.
It's a tangled web, and it's hard to say where the truth lies. But I think the most important thing for our listener to remember is that Allora Petuan is a real person at the heart of this. A woman who deserves to be found, regardless of her boyfriend's ideologies or online manipulations.
Absolutely. Whether she chose to disappear or something more sinister happened, she deserves justice, and her loved ones deserve answers.
And we, as consumers of information, need to be incredibly careful about what we're taking at face value, especially in cases like this, where someone is actively trying to control the narrative.
So where does that leave us? What can our listener take away from all of this?
I think the most important takeaway is to be skeptical. Question everything. Don't just accept what you see or hear, especially online. Look for inconsistencies, consider the source's motivations, and always remember that there are real people impacted by these stories.
Well said. And for our listener, we leave you with this question. What do you believe happened to Allora Petuan? Was her disappearance as straightforward as her boyfriend claims? Or is there something more, something darker, hidden beneath the surface of this already unsettling story?